Welcome to the debate. Today we are diving into a comparison of two strikingly contrasting serviced office propositions found in our source material. We've got one offering the traditional gravitas of the West End, and the other, well, the monumental scale of the modern financial hub.
And this isn't simply a discussion about, postcode prestige. It's a strategic analysis of two fundamentally different models for business growth and operational investment.
Exactly. So the central question we're tackling is this. Does the competitively priced, highly central, boutique Mayfair property offer a superior tactical advantage for today's dynamic entrepreneurs? Or is the high visibility, large-scale infrastructure of the Canary Wharf location the optimal environment for success? I'll be making the case that the Mayfair option, Binney Street, provides the crucial value and flexibility that agile leaders demand.
And I will be arguing for the frankly superior strategic platform offered by Canada Square in Canary Wharf. While Mayfair certainly has its charm, the sheer infrastructural capability, the robust support services, and the global connectivity of the Canary Wharf powerhouse, well, it justifies every pound of its premium. It's the necessary choice for businesses that are actually planning for rapid systemic growth.
Okay, well, my position is really built on the reality of capital efficiency for the modern, high-value enterprise. The Mayfair location offers, unparalleled central connectivity and a tailored, flexible environment at a significantly more competitive price point. We're talking £400 per calendar month, which is substantially cheaper, a full £150 less than the Canary Wharf alternative. And crucially, this isn't a discount on quality, it's smart design. The property is described as reimagined, blending traditional architecture with modern, sun-filled interiors, elegant furniture. This shows the investment has been in aesthetic quality and the client experience. It specifically cultivates this high-trust, relationship-driven ecosystem, offering ideal spaces for meeting and networking with fellow like-minded entrepreneurs. That curated community is invaluable. And, the property champions modern work culture. An unbranded space gives you corporate identity freedom, and the pets allowed policy. It speaks directly to staff well-being, and you just cannot beat the centrality. A mere 2-minute walk from Bond Street Station.
Right. That's an interesting point on cost, but I would frame that £550 a month very differently. The Canary Wharf location provides essential institutional infrastructure, scale, and a high-level prestige that scaling businesses absolutely require. And that's what justifies the higher cost. We're talking about a strategic investment in a platform, not just rent.
Okay.
It's located in one of the tallest towers in Europe, promising dramatic views from its 37th floor. That immediately confers a kind of high-end prestige and visibility, which is a powerful asset. More importantly, it lists critical operational services that are conspicuously absent from the Mayfair description: comprehensive IT and telephony, and a staffed reception providing administrative support. These services are crucial. They mitigate the massive administrative overhead that can just drag down an ambitious scaling firm. And beyond the day-to-day, the capacity to host large-scale events, meeting space for up to 120 delegates. That instantly elevates a firm's operational maturity far beyond what some boutique space can offer.
I see why you'd emphasize infrastructure to justify the cost, but let me offer a different perspective on that value proposition. That £150 monthly saving is substantial. That's nearly £1,800 a year, allowing a boutique firm to reinvest critical capital into, say, product development or talent acquisition. And you're getting prime Mayfair status, sitting right on the corner of Binney Street and Oxford Street, near Selfridges, for a rate that is, highly competitive for a W1K postcode. The Mayfair property achieves this status through very careful, targeted design. We know the investment went into award-winning designers and aesthetic amenities, the blend of traditional architecture with contemporary style. This proves that exceptional quality and the undeniable prestige of a West End address are fully achievable without demanding the operational premium that Canary Wharf extracts. For many modern firms, particularly in creative or high-tech consultancies, aesthetic value and cultural alignment are the primary strategic assets.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that the cost difference outweighs the operational advantages. For an ambitious firm, spending management time arranging its own fiber contracts or managing phone systems, handling reception duties, that's a horribly inefficient use of resources. The higher price at $550 is justified because it's a true turnkey service package, fully furnished, IT support, staffed reception. These are immediate productivity enhancements. The investment in Canary Wharf buys back valuable executive time, and that intangible prestige, those dramatic 37-floor views, is a serious corporate asset that a smaller, unbranded space in Mayfair simply cannot match.
That line of reasoning assumes that all high-growth businesses require that massive, standardized infrastructure. I mean, what about a modern business that uses a fractional CFO or outsourced HR and relies entirely on unified communications over the cloud?
Sure.
For these firms, that IT and telephony package in Canary Wharf isn't mission-critical, it's redundant cost. The Mayfair model provides the essential shell and the high-end aesthetic, but it doesn't burden the tenant with services they don't need. It maximizes agility.
But capability translates directly into opportunity. Which brings us to the environment and the ecosystem. You champion flexibility, which is fine for small operations, but achieving serious growth requires collisions with major capital, proximity to established corporate players. Canary Wharf is explicitly described as a Manhattan-like financial hub. It is dense with activity, surrounded by global headquarters. When a business needs complex legal advice or private banking, those resources are literally on the doorstep.
Right.
The proximity to established finance creates the necessary environment for large-scale deal-making. Mayfair's environment, which is dedicated solely to fellow like-minded entrepreneurs, well, it risks creating an echo chamber, doesn't it? It limits exposure to the institutional structures and global decision-makers that ultimately provide the funding for true expansion.
I see why you'd highlight the density of financial activity, but I would counter that the scale you're praising is also a potential strategic liability. A Manhattan-like structure can feel highly impersonal and, for many businesses, alienating. The Mayfair location, in contrast, fosters a more targeted, curated networking environment. The source material is explicit about providing ideal spaces for meeting and networking, which suggests a focus on the quality and synergy of interaction, not just the volume of bodies in a lobby. And the blend of traditional with the contemporary in Mayfair is uniquely appealing to creative and high-value, non-finance sectors. Media, bespoke tech, high-end design consultancies, these firms often want to avoid the uniform, anonymous aesthetic of a financial high-rise. And the focus on staff well-being, like allowing pets, that signals a distinct, modern cultural philosophy that's highly attractive to top talent.
That's a compelling argument for cultural fit, I'll give you that, particularly for creative industries. But for many businesses, perception equals opportunity. When you're attracting serious international capital, cultural eccentricity can be a liability. Institutional investors rely on clear signals of stability and serious intent. The visibility of a 37th-floor office in a major financial district is an immediate high-trust signal. The Mayfair environment might feel agile, but to a firm conducting high-stakes compliance, the lack of administrative infrastructure and that flexible, unbranded nature, it could be interpreted as transient or underscaled.
Efficiency. Let's look at connectivity. For day-to-day business, nothing surpasses the supreme urban centrality of Mayfair. Being 2 minutes from Bond Street Station provides instant access to the heart of London's commercial and retail world. That immediate connection is critical for firms whose business relies on swift, localized presence and face-to-face West End interactions.
Okay, I acknowledge the local convenience, but strategic advantage has to look beyond the immediate postcode to global infrastructure. Canary Wharf offers superior strategic connectivity for the globally focused business. Look at the transport links, underground, DLR, and the dedicated new Crossrail stations.
Sure.
These lines provide direct, high-capacity transport not just to the West End, but critically, direct access to Heathrow Airport. This demonstrates a proactive, future-proofed commitment to global commerce. When a company is serious about international expansion, proximity to a global transport node like Heathrow vastly outweighs the local charm of a short walk to Marble Arch. The infrastructure in Canary Wharf is designed to support the mass, efficient movement required when you're hosting an event for 120 people.
I'm just not convinced that the marginal benefit of that one Heathrow connection justifies moving away from the densest commercial nexus in London. I mean, Bond Street is rapidly integrating Crossrail itself, providing fantastic access to the city and beyond. For the Mayfair firm, the daily benefit of being able to walk to the highest density of commercial, retail, and leisure activity in London instantly
Being at the absolute geographical center provides an overwhelming compounding daily advantage. You're trading guaranteed daily efficiency for a potential occasional global advantage.
But the growth trajectory of an ambitious business inevitably demands that occasional global advantage becomes a routine necessity. The Mayfair location simply does not offer the scale or the supporting administrative staff to transition smoothly past a certain size. You're arguing for optimization for the current size of the entrepreneur. My argument focuses on the platform that facilitates their next stage of aggressive growth. Mayfair is excellent for the specialized boutique. Canary Wharf is essential for the ambition of turning that boutique into a global corporation.
And that's where the distinction lies. Mayfair offers the environment to cultivate a strong identity before the rigid requirements of institutional scale set in. The lower cost gives the firm a longer runway. The flexibility allows for organic cultural development. Canary Wharf, by comparison, forces a corporate maturity that some firms simply aren't ready for, or perhaps philosophically reject.
And that cultural independence comes with the burden of managing all operational risk yourself. The Canary Wharf investment is essentially buying systemic reliability and a platform that is built for acceleration.
Ultimately, I think the source material forces us to recognize a core trade-off based on business intent. For the entrepreneur who's prioritizing capital value, supreme urban centrality, cultural alignment, and, the freedom of a high-design boutique feel, the Binney Street Mayfair property offers the optimal ecosystem. It successfully balances London tradition with modern demands at a very compelling cost.
And that is precisely the defining strategic decision. For the business that prioritizes scale, immediate corporate prestige, confirmed by those 37th floor views, comprehensive infrastructural support, and essential global transport links via Crossrail and direct Heathrow access, the Canada Square property offers the necessary ambitious platform for systemic expansion. And that justifies the higher investment.